You want to know why you can't tickle yourself. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Everyone knows the feeling of being tickled. That sudden jolt, the uncontrollable laughter, a sort of panic and joy all mixed up. But then you try it on yourself, and nothing happens. Maybe a little sensation, a light touch. But never that deep belly-shaking laughter, never that desperate, joyful wriggling. It just doesn't work. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's actually a very fundamental part of how your brain works. It tells us a lot about how we understand ourselves and how we understand the world around us. It's a simple question with a really interesting answer. The answer goes deep into how your brain processes information. It's all about prediction, and it's about control. Let's start with what tickling feels like. When someone else tickles you, it's often a surprise. A sudden touch on a sensitive spot, maybe your ribs, or your armpits, or the soles of your feet. Your body reacts without you even thinking about it. You might jump, you might squeal. And then the laughter comes. It's often a genuine involuntary laugh. It's a deep gut level response. It's not always pleasant for everyone. Some people hate it, but for many, it's a form of playful fun. It creates a bond. It's a very human interaction. But when you try to do that to yourself, it's different. You know exactly where your fingers are going. You know the pressure you'll apply. You know the exact moment your touch will land. And because of that, your brain already knows it's coming. There's no surprise. And surprise is a huge part of the tickle. It's not the only part, but it's a very important one. Your brain is always working. It's always guessing what's next. Think about it. When you decide to lift your arm, your brain doesn't just send a signal to your muscles. It also sends a kind of preview. It sends a message to other parts of itself. This preview tells those parts, hey, I'm about to lift the arm. Expect to feel your arm moving. Expect these muscles to tighten. This happens incredibly fast. It's all before your arm even starts to move. It's a fundamental part of how your body operates. This internal prediction system is vital. It keeps you oriented in the world. It helps you understand what's happening. And it helps you understand if you're the one making it happen, or if something else is. It's a continuous, real-time process. Your brain is a master at anticipating. It predicts sounds. It predicts sights. And it predicts feelings. This is a big deal for how you experience the world. This system has a special name. Scientists call it an efference copy or corollary discharge. Those are fancy words, but the idea is simple. Every time your brain sends a command to your muscles to move, it makes a copy of that command. It sends this copy to the parts of your brain that process sensory information, so the sensory part of your brain gets a heads up. It knows what kind of sensation to expect, it knows what it's supposed to feel, it knows what it's supposed to hear, or see, or touch, all because you made an action. And this is where the the lack of magic happens with tickling. When you reach out to tickle yourself, your brain creates an efference copy. It sends that copy to the parts of your brain that deal with touch. Those parts then get a very clear message. They hear, hey, a touch is coming. It's from me. It's going to be right here. It's going to feel like this. Your brain essentially cancels out the sensation. It filters it. It dampens it. It makes it less important. This is called sensory attenuation. Sensory attenuation is not just for tickling. It's happening all the time. Think about the feeling of your clothes on your skin. You notice it when you first put them on, but after a few minutes, you don't really feel them anymore. Your brain has decided that sensation isn't important. It's not new. It's not a threat. And it's not something to pay attention to. So it turns down the volume on that feeling. The same goes for the sound of your own breathing. You don't usually notice it. Your brain filters it out. It lets you focus on other more important things, like the sound of someone talking to you, or a car horn outside, or the rustle of leaves in the wind. This filtering system is incredibly useful for survival. If your brain paid attention to every single sensation you generated yourself, you would be overwhelmed. You wouldn't be able to distinguish between what you're doing and what the outside world is doing. Imagine trying to hunt or gather food if every step you took felt like a startling new event. Or if the feeling of your hand moving felt like someone else was touching you. It would be chaos. So, your brain is designed to ignore the expected, and to pay close attention to the unexpected, the novel, the potentially dangerous, or the potentially fun, like an unexpected tickle. So, when you try to tickle yourself, your brain treats it like the feeling of your clothes, or the sound of your own breath. It's an expected self-generated sensation. There's no novelty. There's no surprise. Your brain turns down the volume. It doesn't register as important. It doesn't trigger that unique ticklish response. It doesn't make you laugh. It just feels like a touch. a very ordinary, predictable touch. And this brings us back to that crucial element of surprise. When someone else tickles you, your brain has no efference copy for that action. It didn't send the command, it didn't predict the touch. So, when the sensation arrives, it's unexpected. It's novel, it's external. Your brain pays full attention to it. It registers it as something important. Something from the outside world, and that's what triggers the whole tickle reaction. The sudden startle, the laughter, the squirming. It's all because your brain was taken by surprise. There's also a social component to tickling. Tickling is often an act of play. It builds social bonds. It involves trust. You usually let people you trust tickle you, and there's a vulnerability to it. You're giving up a bit of control. When someone else tickles you, there's an element of surrender. Your body reacts. You can't always control the laughter. It's a shared experience. An interaction. When you tickle yourself, that social element is missing. There's no other person. No interaction. No shared play. You are both the tickler and the tickly. And that changes everything. The brain processes social interactions in complex ways. It recognizes the difference between me and not me. And tickling very much relies on that distinction. It relies on the not me factor. Think about different kinds of tickling too. Scientists sometimes talk about two types. One is called nismuses. That's the light, irritating kind of tickle, like a feather lightly brushing your skin. Or an insect crawling on you. It can be a bit unpleasant. It might make you scratch or shiver, but it doesn't usually make you laugh uncontrollably. The other type is gargalus. That's the deep, laugh-inducing tickle, the kind that makes you gasp for air and squirm. This is the one we're usually talking about when we say we can't tickle ourselves. Yet you might be able to create a little bit of nismesis on yourself, a light, irritating touch. But true gargalesis, that gut-busting laughter, that's almost impossible to achieve on your own. It needs that external, unpredictable element. It needs the brain not to be in control. So it's a combination of things. It's the brain's prediction system, it's the efference copy, it's the sensory attenuation that filters out self-generated sensations, and it's the element of surprise. All these things work together. They make it so you just can't get that real tickle from your own hands. What if this system didn't work? What if your brain couldn't filter out self-generated sensations? It would be a very confusing world. In fact, research into why we can't tickle ourselves has actually shed light on certain neurological conditions. For example, some studies suggest that people with schizophrenia might experience a diminished sense of self-agency. Their brains might have trouble distinguishing between actions they initiate and actions caused by external sources. This can lead to hallucinations, where their own thoughts or actions feel like they're coming from somewhere else. And some research indicates that people with certain forms of schizophrenia might actually be able to tickle themselves. Their brains aren't properly filtering out their self-generated sensations, so their own touch might feel external and surprising to them. This highlights just how important this self versus non-self distinction is for our mental health and our understanding of reality. It's not just a quirk about tickling, it's a fundamental brain mechanism. You might try to trick your brain. You might try to close your eyes, or use a long stick to tickle yourself, or even try to make your movements unpredictable. But your brain is smarter than that. Even with a tool, it still knows you are controlling the tool. It knows you are the one initiating the action. The efference copy is still generated. The prediction is still made. The sensation is still attenuated. It might feel a little different with a tool, maybe a tiny bit more novel. But it won't be that full, uncontrollable tickle, not the real thing, because your brain still has too much information. It still has too much control. And what about a machine? If you set up a robot to tickle you, would that work? Yes, it probably would, but only if you couldn't perfectly predict its movements. If you program a machine to touch you in the exact same spot at the exact same time every day, your brain might start to predict that too. And the ticklishness might lessen over time. The key is true unpredictability, something truly external and beyond your direct control. So the next time you feel that frustrating lack of ticklishness from your own hands, remember it's a testament to your amazing brain. It's a sign that your brain is working perfectly. It's efficiently processing information. It's distinguishing between what you do and what the world does to you. It's letting you focus on important new information. And it's preventing you from being overwhelmed by every single movement you make. It's a complex system, really. It shows how our brains are built to understand agency. To understand who is doing what. It's a constant calculation. My hand is moving. I expect to feel my hand moving. Therefore, that feeling is not important right now. This is a very streamlined way of operating. It saves mental energy. It keeps us grounded in our own bodies. and it keeps us aware of external changes. It also tells us a lot about the nature of laughter. The laughter that comes from tickling is often an automatic response. It's almost a reflex. It's not necessarily because something is funny in the way a joke is funny. It's more of a primitive physiological reaction to a combination of unexpected touch and a perceived but not actual threat. It's a playful fight or flight response, perhaps, and that response needs the element of surprise. It needs the brain to register something is coming from outside. It's a beautiful example of how your internal world is constructed, how your sense of self is built moment by moment. It's why you can feel your own heartbeat, but you don't jump every time it beats. Your brain is used to it, it expects it. It knows it's you. But if you suddenly heard someone else's heartbeat next to you in a quiet room, that would be very different. That would be external, that would grab your attention. It's all about context, and it's all about who is in charge. So, while it might be a bit disappointing that you can't give yourself a good tickle, it's actually a sign of a well-functioning brain. It means your brain is doing its job, it's keeping you organized, it's keeping you connected to your own actions. And it's keeping you aware of the world around you. It's a small, everyday mystery with a profound scientific explanation. It's not about being unable to tickle yourself. It's about your brain's incredible ability to tell the difference between you and everything else. It's about maintaining a clear boundary between your own actions and the sensory input from the world outside. That boundary is essential for pretty much everything you do. It's how you know you're picking up a cup. And it's how you know someone else is touching your arm. It's the foundation of your experience. And a tickle, or the lack thereof, is just one small, funny window into that amazing process.